Hello and welcome to my first ever book review. I'm going to be reviewing Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. The camera's really bad, you probably can't see it that well. This is the second book in the Red Queen Quartet by Victoria Aveyard. It follows the story of a girl named Mare Barrow. In Mare's world, there are aristocrats who have silver blood and all these really awesome powers. Like, they can control water, they can control fire. And then there are also the red bloods who are like you and me. They're normal. They don't have these cool powers. And they're like serfs in medieval times. And one day, Mare discovers on live television in front of the royal family that she has these cool powers too. The only problem is she's a red blood. And in the first book, she gets disguised as a silver and a bunch of stuff happens. The first book's really good. The second book is following Mare's journey after the events of the first book. If you read the first book and you're not sure whether you want to read this or not, I would say do it, because the first book, while it was still a lot of fun, I definitely recommend it. It was kind of boring. There's a bit of sort of like drama between girls, feeling a bit like high school, but this improves so much. It's action-packed, it's a thrill ride, and there's not really much more that I can say about it without spoiling it. So, if you haven't read it, read the series if it sounds like something you'd like. And now, I'm going to talk about everything that I thought about this book. Oh my god, it was so good. I really enjoyed it. And just a bit of background, if you're wondering why the camera's shitty, it's because I've always wanted to try doing one of these video things, and I was going to wait until I got back from Spain, because I'm in Spain right now. And I was going to do it then. I was going to use a better camera at home, because right now I'm just using a webcam on my laptop. And it's bad, as you can probably tell by the fact that I look all washed out, and you can't really see the cover of the book. Oh, that's a pretty good angle. Now you can see the cover of the book. Isn't that nice? And then the sun reflects off it. Anyway, but I got this book yesterday. It came in the mail. I was really excited. I sat down and I read it, and I just couldn't contain my feelings. So here I am, and I'm talking, and I'm starting this early, because why not? And this way I can also sort of like test the waters out a bit. Anyway, so this book gave me so many feelings, especially the end. Can we just talk about the end for a second? Our main villain in this is Maven, which kind of surprised me, because I got the feeling at the end of the last book that our main villain was going to be the Queen, Ilara. So when she died, I was there like, whoa, you're really going the whole Maven's irredeemable thing, which I kind of like. I like that, he's the bad guy. And we're totally acknowledging that, but we're still acknowledging that, Mare still hopes there's, a little bit of that good guy left in him. And that ending, there was a lot of stuff that I read and I thought, oh yeah, this is going to happen, because it's made very clear that Maven is still into Mare. He still likes Mare, and he wants something to happen between them. And he goes to some pretty drastic measures to try and get Mare's attention. And at the end of the book, Mare finally gives herself up so that her friends can go away for free. And the epilogue has her going up in front of Maven in chains and kneeling in front of him on live television. And when I started reading it, and I heard, she was describing, Victoria Aveyard, the author, was describing, this situation. I thought it was a wedding. I thought that they were going to get married. Completely honest, that's what I thought. And then she references something like they're standing across from each other, like they're still betrothed. And they're like, this is a wedding. Oh my god, he's marrying her. Just like, Raven, that's cold. That's mean. He wasn't. I'm really interested to see what happens with these two next, partially because I read a lot of history books, and I know what would happen if this was a thing that actually happened in history, but is that too dark for a YA book? How is Victoria Aveyard going to play this Maven being into Mare thing? So far she's done it wonderfully. The M brand, that was just sort of like perfect characterization of Maven, because it manages to sort of like marry, like they didn't get married at the end, marrying. It manages to like marry this idea that Maven is interested and really sort of like, invested is the wrong word, but he's like got a thing for Mare, and it's kind of creepy, but he doesn't see it that way, and he's also kind of possessive. You sort of see that here. Branding your initial into somebody, like this girl right here, this one's mine, I get this one. And it was, I loved and hated that moment. Like, from a Maven point of view, like, Maven, stop, you're being bad. I was shipping you two in the last book. But another thing that I really like with this is, obviously, one series I've seen this series compared to a lot is the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. If you haven't read that, it's a lot of fun. I do have some problems with it, mostly Mal, who's a character from, like, the main character's childhood, and there's a character like that in here, you know, from her childhood, has always had a crush on her, and that is Kilorn. I don't know, he's got a weird name. Kilorn, it's hard to pronounce that I. And so I did not like him in the last book because it sort of felt like we were having a love square, and I hate love triangles. And like adding in a whole other player, just no, stop. But then at the end of the last book, of course, Maven betrays her, and I was there like, bravo, killing that love triangle dead. But Kilorn was still there, and I did not like at the beginning how it was there like, but Kilorn exists? Do you think that she'll pick Kilorn? But I think that Victoria Aveyard played it really well. I mean, I'm pretty sure here that Cal is endgame, which is good, because after I stopped shipping Mare and Maven, like even at the beginning of this book, I shipped them a bit, but he just shows how much of an ass he is. So but like you still sort of go like, no Maven, be good, we like you. So Victoria Aveyard managed to do what Leigh Bardugo did, which is create this villain that we're still sort of sympathetic for, and we're still interested about what would happen if the two of them got together. But at the same time, we don't want him to win. We don't like him. And also, the sort of like person from home isn't really that big of a player. And once again, we really do get that sense because Mare is frequently there like, that's nice, Kilorn, but I'm just your friend. And while I do get tired of this sort of like, he was just her friend, but actually he likes her trope, it's nice to just sort of be there like, do you know what, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm not into every guy that I meet. Some other things that surprised me. I did not see Shade's death coming, and I feel like I should have, because, you know, she proved in the last book, Victoria Aveyard proved in the last book that she's not afraid of killing people. And so somebody was going to die here, but I really liked Shade, and I really liked him and Farley, and that made me sad. I don't cry in books, but that's the sort of thing that I might have cried at if I was a crier in books type. What I am most excited for in the next book, that's not seeing what goes on between Mare and Maven, not in that way, just sort of like how Maven deals with having Mare sort of like available and within reach, is Cameron. I'm really interested in Cameron, and I think that she was really important in this book because she was sort of like a foil to Mare, because Mare was always there like, no, saving New Bloods, it's all about the New Bloods, and Cameron was sort of the voice of reason, well maybe not the voice of reason, but not a lot of people were willing to disagree with Mare, and Cameron was, and she sort of made Mare a better person, made Mare realize that if you just focus on the New Bloods, you're just going to create a new Silver class, and I really like that, and I really liked her, and I really hope that in the next book we'll get to see her, you know, go with the Little Legion and save her brother, because I feel like she deserves that, and I don't want her to die in the next book, because Mare needs somebody around who can sort of, you know, oppose her, and who isn't afraid to say, no, you're wrong, because she doesn't really have anybody like that right now. So those are my thoughts on Glass Sword. This is a lot longer than I expected it was going to be, but who cares? It was fun. So definitely pick this up. It's just one adrenaline thing after another, and it's a great sequel, and I cannot wait to see what Victoria Aveyard does next. If you do actually see this for some random reason, and you think that, hey, maybe this is interesting, like and subscribe, please. I probably won't put anything out for like 2 months, but you could do it anyway. That would be nice. Thank you if you do.